Good afternoon on what is a slightly cold, damp day. It is Thursday, the 11th of November. I am back in the reading nook with a nice hot cup of tea and a box to open up, so grab the knife. So I haven't looked on this, it's from Atlas Games, I don't know what it is, so it can be interesting to find out. So, slice the knife through the paper, and we have, well, that's a clue. And what have we got? Yeah, not a little pack of things in here. Do I get to before I get to the basically stickers, and the Gilman House, which, and was Hotel Miskatonic, Massachusetts, at Kadath in the cold waste. Quite like these. These are a nice touch. And Elder Faris Leng, see those, and Vale of the Oth Nagal in the Dreamlands, complete with a cat. But, we know how important the cat are to the mythos. Covered that in the Cthulhu Codicil, which I wrote a review of the other day. And what else have we got in this box? Well, two things. I think, yeah, no, one. Yeah, this is Tour de Lovecraft, The Destinations. This is a follow-up, I believe, to an earlier volume, Tour de Lovecraft, which really dealt with the fiction. But this is by Ken Hite, and this is essentially Tour de Lovecraft is the first volume. Takes you through the sort of like the most famous works of Lovecraft, discusses them, and Hite gives his thoughts. Now, whereas with Tour de Lovecraft, The Destinations, Hite basically goes on a tour of his very own to the various destinations and examines them for your delight and interest. And whereas the original Tour de Lovecraft was a little hardback about, sort of basically about that, a little softback about that thick, this is a much lengthier hardback. So, what have we got? Ken Hite guided readers through HP Lovecraft's horror plots and themes in the earlier Tour de Lovecraft, The Tales. Now expanding on his Lost in Lovecraft column in Weird Tales magazine, he conducts a second tour of Lovecraft settings from Arkham to Antarctica, and from New York City to hyperspace. Technically, you may argue that maybe they could be the same space. Tour de Lovecraft, The Destinations drives the hidden routes connecting the seemingly unrelated tales. It follows Lovecraft's tracks into the uncanny landscapes of fiction and reads the eldritch signs on the Master's map. Hite climbs the crags of Kingsport, delves into deep time, and shines a light under the shadows over Innsmouth. With Hite as your driver and Tour de Lovecraft, The Destination as your guidebook, you can't get lost in Lovecraft even in the loneliest parts of the planet, unless you want to. So this is actually published by Atomic Overmind Press, which is probably best known for fantastic setting supplement campaign called Serpent Fall, which is a post-apocalyptic setting in the wake of World War II, where essentially Ragnarok is what it's called, basically where the Nazis basically decide that in order to end the world, they're going to summon the serpent and then trigger Ragnarok, and they do, and Truman's response is basically to blow it up with or to basically fly a nuclear bomb into it. It works, but the world server basically crashes to the planet and causes chaos. And you're exploring the world afterwards, and lots of different sort of like nuances and changes and stuff like that. And it's a really interesting post-apocalyptic different setting. Anyway, this, as I say, is really something you really want to have a look at if you are you have any interest in Lovecraft science fiction and want to explore it further. So we open up with a really nicely done route map of Essex County, basically Lovecraft country, or Lovecraft County, and let's see bits on the inside before we delve into the book itself. So yeah, let's have a look. The Day After Ragnarok is the correct title. I do apologise. It's been a while since I've looked at it. I have reviewed it, and there's a link on my there's a review on my blog, and so let's have a look. So we go into the introduction, and then from here into the woods, into the destinations. It looks very dry, but I think this is something to settle down with access to some of Lovecraft's fiction. So if you have got copies of the annotated versions which have come out in the recent years, you may well find those of you. So we start off with Arkham right at the top, and that makes sense. You figure how important Arkham is to Lovecraft's fiction. And what's interesting here is that really to delve into this, read this, sort of like have it act as pointers to the fiction, especially if you run the role-playing game called Cthulhu. And here, and then we do go into the Dreamland and out onto the moon. Again, it's a shorter piece. So this really is for your Lovecraft fan, called Cthulhu fan. So generally we just have the Pacific Ocean. I'm sure we'll get somewhere specific a bit more further into the book. And what's interesting is looking at these places and seeing, and reminding yourself, certainly if you play the Call of Cthulhu, just how many scenarios have been set here, there, and everywhere. So there's New York City, and I'm thinking of Tales from New York City, The Sleepless City, City That Never Sleeps, which is the supplement from the anthology from Atomic Overmind Press, Golden Goblin Press. If you get a copy of that, it's really good. Then we go upstate. So yeah. Oh, I think I've got a visitor. Yeah. I couldn't do this without a cat, could I? Come on. Down you come, because people don't want to see that. That's it. He's being a bit awkward, aren't you? Where's the cat? So, there we go. That's what he wants. So this is, I think, as I say, I would say there's not a lot of illustrations in here. We've also got footnotes as well. So this is really, this won't be a dry read, but on first appearances it looks to be a fairly dense and dry read. But again, there's over a section here, section on Nokotis and hyperspace as promised. Section on hyperspace. But this again, if you've got something like the Encyclopedia Cthulhiana, your Call of Cthulhu rulebook, and this is a nice corollary to it. So let's see how far we go. If I walk my way around this cat. Yeah, Providence itself gets a look in as well. And then we get to the appendices. So occult itineraries in Lovecraft. And we're dealing with really just sort of like a learned, essentially examination of the content, and then nice map of the Lovecraftian world, which essentially sort of echoes that map you got in the box set for Call of Cthulhu. Remember back in the day, 1981, sort of like, you know, sort of like up to 1985 and so on, when the first full books were coming out, you got a poster map and it would have all these various locations marked in it. This has more of them. Let me show you that. And then a gazetteer, various places. Again, this is, you know, that's not this could be fuller, but I mean, it's worthy looking at these for further information and background. So these range from New England through United States and Canada, Earth, so look, Dreamlands, of course, outer space, and then a bibliography, which is again fairly lengthy, and we've got an index as well, a general index. So oh, let's see what this is. I think we've got a nice little map in here if I can access it. Not sure that I can. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there we are. So that's the fuller map. If I just trying to not mishandle this book. There we go. That's a nice sort of like period piece presentation for the map. That's really a nice touch at the end there. And just fold that back in. And then, okay, so yeah, that is Tour de Lovecraft Destinations. Been waiting for that to drop on Kickstarter. I saw it just started dropping this week by Ken Hite. So yeah, as it says, by every Lovecraft fan needs this book. Tim Powers, author of Declare. Right, well, thank you for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please do click the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you posting those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with a parcel, a book or game, which I will talk about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea and sometimes a cat who is not ours, then please do click that subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.